One more day to go and we welcome another weekend. Still a very busy news cycle for all of us though. And as always, we bring you the very latest headlines until 3 p.m. Ako po si Denise Tan.
Ako naman po si Lourdes Vera. Nagsuko na ng armas pero wanted pa rin at armado ang nagtatagong sa bungero. Nagparamdam na at sa ombudsman daw. Nais ng dialogo ng nakatakas na si Zaldico at sa mga pari nagpapasaklolo. Ang daming kriminal talaga sa bansang ito pero isa lang ang sasabihin ko. Belated happy birthday, Senator Bato. Pero walang kandila para malight dito po sa Afternoon Delight.
Okay, it is Thursday, January 22. Maraming nangyayari ngayong araw and we will have those stories for you later on in the show. Pero ang mga nangyari kahapon, nakausap-usapan pa rin. So first, missing in action, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Nagparamdam. He turned 64 years old on Wednesday, January 21st, and he had a message to both supporters and critics.
Sige nga, basahin natin yung statement.
Sabi niya, "Here I am, alive and well, gratefully celebrating 64 years this God-given life."
Waiting for a true seeking for justice to emerge and take over. Not this threat of fake and foreign meddling from those who do not and can never ever know us or be us. If indeed there are cases against me, then I wait for a time and a certainty that I shall be able to face these cases as a Filipino before Filipinos.
Kailan kaya natin siya makikita? Ay, meron pa pala.
Eto, kung papayag lamang ako na ako'y huhulihin at lilitisin ng mga tao at korteng banyaga, tila binaliwala ko rin ang pakikipaglaban ng ating mga bayani at sundalo para sa ating kasrenlan. Hinding-hindi ko sasayangin ang dugo at pawis ng mga Pilipinong lumalaban para sa Pilipinas. This is patriotism. I remain patient and composed. I remain dignified, ang sabi.
Di pa tapos.
May pahabol pa, okay?
Sige nga, ako magtutuloy, partner. Okay. To those who are all too eager and impatient, try flipping your script. Ask yourself, why are you excited to surrender your fellow Filipinos to foreigners? Where is your moral fiber? Why are you the first to applaud the collapse of our sovereignty? I await too for your change of heart.
Sa lahat ng mga nakakaalala at bumate, sa lahat ng mga patuloy na sumusuporta, nagdarasal at nagmamahal, maraming salamat. I am braver knowing you are with me in this fight.
Pero meron pa, okay. On my 64th birthday, I make this wish. It may be permitted that the Philippines will once more be restored to true nationhood. One that demands that justice be served right here on our shores, in our courts. Justice that requires us to stand tall and proud as Filipinos. Nothing more, nothing less. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo.
Kala ko meron pa eh.
Ay, dyan natapos.
Lupa na langit! Sa piling
Ha?
mo! Sa
Ano?
piling mo!
Well, okay.
Okay, ito talaga. Related, unrelated. Another personality people are talking about Filipina tennis superstar Alex Ayala now back in the Philippines. She will be competing in the Philippine Women's Open next week, receiving a wild card entry for the inaugural WTA 120 or 125 tournament. And that tournament runs from January 26 through the 31st, with qualifying and main matches beginning this weekend at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center. Bagong-bago yan, partner, di ba? Nakita mo, kamo?
Oo, ang ganda. Ang ganda nung ang ganda nung bagong court. Of course, first WTA event for the Philippines. This is historic and this is such a great platform and avenue para makadiscover tayo at makita natin yung galing talaga ng Pilipino.
O ba, nagsasound si Alex Ayala. Nakita mo yung kanyang headphones. Makikita yan, no? O ano kaya pinapakinggan niya?
Next time makausap natin siya, alamin natin yan.
O, baka yung tunog ng mga volley ng bola. Pak!
Yun pa rin,
Diba?
tennis pa rin.
Mali mo, hypnotic yun eh.
Why
pag
not?
tahimik.
Oo, kanya-kanya
Pero lang
yan.
siguro pag may laban siya, maririnig. Pag nag-cheer yung Pinoy, talagang parang piyesta.
Ano naman yan, hindi naman din natin masisi, no? ating mga Pinoy fans, mga kababayan natin. Dahil syempre hindi pa naman masyadong sanay na ipinapakita ang tennis kahit dito sa Pilipinas.
Paliwanag lang natin. Ano?
Oo.
Kasi sa basketball, iba tayo mag-cheer. Diba?
Oo.
Sa tennis, mag-cheer ka lang kapag
Dead ball.
dead ball, lalong-lalo na kung nag-dead ball yung kalaban mo, yung opposing team. Pero hindi ganon ka-rowdy. No? Iba yung decibel level ng pag-cheer ng mga Noipi. Lalo na subukan nilang ganyan sa golf. Masaya, di ba?
Baka lalong sitahin, naging usap-usapan.
May mga bubuzuela pa.
Online, oo.
Pero ito, valley tayo hanggang sa kabilang topic pa rin. Also being discussed today is the state of health of President Bongbong Marcos. About a couple of hours ago, Malacanang confirmed that the chief executive is currently under medical observation after experiencing discomfort. The Presidential Communications Office said the president's doctors advised him to rest. His condition, however, remains stable, and Mr. Marcos is also expected to carry out his duties. And according to the palace spokesperson, he is already back in Malacanang as of today.
The president spent the night under medical observation as a precautionary measure after experiencing discomfort. His doctors advise rest and monitoring, and his condition remains stable. The president continued to carry out his responsibilities while under medical observation and has returned to Malacanang. Hindi po sa atin na nabanggit kung ano ang particular na discomfort na kanyang naranasan. But ang maimportante po rito at dapat natin maipaalam sa ating mga kababayan na siya po ngayon ay muling nagtatrabaho at nasa Malacanang. Siya po ay nasa maayos na kalagayan at mamayang hapon po ay magkakaroon pa po siya ng 2 pribadong meeting. Tingnan po natin kung bukas po dahil meron po siyang event, kung maa-advise siya ng doktor na okay naman po siya, malamang po ay makikita rin agad natin ang Pangulo.
Alright, the Makabayan Bloc has submitted its impeachment complaint against President Marcos. And for details, we have mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Arles, okay, so ang mas dapat ba o mas angkop ba na term na ginamit ay submitted at hindi filed? Pakipaliwanag kung bakit, Arles.
Lord, tama, no? Ang tamang terminolohiya na gamitin ay isinumite ng Makabayan Bloc ang kanilang ang pangalawang impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos dito nga sa Kamara. Alas 10 ng umaga kanina nang pirmahan nga nila ito at ninotaryo kung saan kasama nga sa mga nanguna dyan, no, yung grupong Bagong Alyansang Makabayan o Bayan, kasama ang kinatawa ng mga manggagawa, magsasaka, urban poor at anti-corruption advocates. Inendorso yan ng Makabayan Bloc kung saan nga sina ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino, Cabrera Representative Sara Ilago at Kabataan Party List Representative Renico. Pero hindi yan deemed as a filed, Lord, no, dahil ng kanilang sa kanilang pagpasok dito hindi daw ito tinanggap ng opisina ng Secretary General dahil wala daw si SecGen Cheloy Garafil, no, dahil meron itong business trip, no, related pa rin naman sa trabaho para tumanggap ng isang pagkilala sa Taiwan, no. Kaya ang kanilang itinatanong ngayon, ang sinasad naman daw ng House Rules at ng Kongreso sa pagsasampa ng impeachment complaint ay dapat lang naman daw itong ipasa sa opisina ng Secretary General at hindi mismo doon sa Secretary General. Kaya nagtataka sila kung bakit daw sinabi ng Executive Director ng opisina ng SecGen na hindi niya raw pwede itong tanggapin dahil hindi raw siya binigyan ng otorisasyon ng ni Garafil.
Okay, as we speak, Arles, may third impeachment complaint daw filed by former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson at kasama
Tama
si
ka dyan, Lord, no?
dating General Hermogenes Esperon at si Attorney Ferdinand Topacio.
Pasyo.
Kasama na rin si
Lord. Actually,
ex-Congressman Mike Defensor. Okay, pakikwento sa amin, Arles.
Correct, Lord. Alam mo, kaninang umaga pa natin naririnig to, yung mga bulong-bulungan na magkakaroon nga ng pangatlong impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. So, saan nga nakita natin dito na meron silang bitbit na isang maleta na ayon sa kanila ay mga ebidensya raw, no? Hinihintay natin kung ano nga ba yung kalalabasan ng kanilang pag-susumite ng reklamo, kung kalalabasan ba nito kagaya lamang doon sa Makabayan Block, no? Pero kinukumpirma natin na nandito nga si dating Representative Mike Defensor at ang negosyante at former Ilocos Sur Governor na si Luis Chavez Singson.
Arles, what is the possibility though of them not being able to do something else? Dahil kung yung pangalawang impeachment complaint ay nasubmit lang at hindi na file, I mean, may possibility na ganun nga rin yung mangyari dun sa final ni former Governor Chavez Singson. What happens next to both parties kung parang dead end na yan for today?
Well, at least para kasi sa Makabayan, Dennis, no, ang kanilang paniniwala ay ito ay for them, it's deemed as received, no, dahil ipinasa na raw nila to. Kasi parang yung reklamo lang naman daw ay kailangan ibigay ito sa opisina ng Secretary General. So yon ang posisyon ng Makabayan Block at ng alyansang Makabayan or ng bayan na sinasabi nila para sa kanila ay natanggap na daw talaga ito, na i-file na talaga ito, no? So aabangan natin kung ano naman yung magiging posisyon dito ng ikatlong impeachment complaint, no, laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Kasi ang plano ngayon ng bayan ay babalik sila sa Lunes, no, para nga kung nandito na daw ang Secretary General ma-receive ito ng formal at they're hoping na makasama ito sa order of business sa pagbabalik ng sesyon ng Kamara sa Lunes. Sinubukan din nila actually kanina na pumunta at dumulog mismo sa opisina ni House Speaker Bogie D, pero wala raw tao doon sa opisina, so bumalik na lamang sila, no. But Monday, aasahan nga natin ang kanilang pagbabalik dito sa Kamara kasabay ng pagbubukas ng sesyon nito.
Okay, Arles, today's submission is quite crucial because under impeachment rules, the first charge referred to the Justice Committee and deemed initiated, is it? Ibig sabihin, walang ibang pwedeng complaint na ipasa ulit sa loob ng isang taon. Ano bang ikibinabahala ng Makabayan Block doon sa unang impeachment complaint?
Well, ang kanilang pangamba, Denise, no, baka daw ang i-prioritize lamang dahil nga may nauna ng impeachment, yung nila'y mahina na basehan, no, ng impeachment complaint. Kasi kung matatandaan natin, ito yung final, no, ng abogado na si Andre De Jesus, kung saan kasama sa mga grounds noon yung virtually daw na pagkidnap nga kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte at pagdala sa ICC, and kabukod pa doon yung mga alegasyon nga ng cover-up sa investigasyon ng flood control projects at yung claims din na deemed unfit na nga raw si PBBM para mamuno dahil sa alegasyon ng mga illegal na droga. Ayon sa Makabayan, hindi naman daw pwede na yung mahihina nga raw, no, as per them, na mga impeachment complaint yung maipapasa. Kasi sila, naniniwala sila, Denise, no, na malakas talaga yung kanilang pinangahawakan ng mga dokumento dahil ang kanilang basehan ay yung betrayal of public trust. Dahil kaugnay or may kinalaman daw itong si PBBM doon nga sa naging umano'y sistematiko at large scale na pandarambong kaugnay ng mga pondong ginamit para sa flood control projects ng pamahalaan at yung mga inilagak na pera doon sa mga unprogrammed programs, no, unprogrammed allocation. So, ang kanilang takot, baka daw yun lamang yung silipin at tignan. So, gusto talaga nilang makasama yung kanila. But actually, ang proseso naman dito, Denise, no, kung matatandaan natin yung ginawa sa impeachment case ni Vice President Sara Duterte, merong iba't ibang mga kaso or mga complaint na i-file, no, for grounds on impeachment for her. Pero parang kinonsolidate na lamang nila yon ng isahan, no? And then yun yung gumulong para sa yun yung gumulong sa at dinala, no, sa Committee on Justice and then Rules and then plenary hanggang sa umabot na nga ng Senado. But still, we are yet to find out kung paano nga yung magiging final nito kasi meron pa rin silang motion for recommendation doon sa desisyon ng Supreme Court na dapat isa lang daw yung titinggin na barrel. So may mga agam-agam din na baka daw they're thinking na baka daw may mga plano rin talaga, no, na i-prioritize or unahin yung mahinang impeachment case kumpara doon sa iba pa na may iba pang mga grounds naman talaga ng kareklamo laban sa presidente.
Arles, merong 4 na grounds itong Makabayan Block. Ang isa dito, sinasabi nila, meron daw yung tinatawag na creation of a BBM parametric formula. Anong ibig sabihin nito? At may kinalaman ito sa yung public works budget across legislative districts.
Ayan yung Lord, yung parang ginagamit daw para ilabas yung allocables, no? Kasi sabi nila, BBM pa nga daw yung acronym nito kasi may kinalaman at may ideya nga daw talaga dito si Pangulong Marcos sa paglalabas ng Congress budget para sa mga proyekto na ito, no? Parang in-institutionalize daw at in-entrench pa nga yung pork barrel system ng allocation at gumawa ng mga pulisiya na yung mga technical na pangangailangan hindi basta-basta nakatutugon nga daw sa pangangailangan ng mga komunidad, no? Parang political patronage na lamang daw na nagresulta nga sa malawakang misallocation ng pondo. Yun nga, at nakatanggap yung ilang mga opisyal ng alegasyon na commitments or kickbacks para sa mga ilan sa mga namumuno.
Okay. Arles, palinaw lang, no? Sinasabi kasi nila yung na-file nung January 19 nung Attorney De Jesus ay poorly written kasi ang mga ebidensya daw na sinama mga media clippings lamang. Habang
Correct, Lord.
ito bang sa Makabayan daw ay may kahit pa paano may significant documentation at kasama ro dito yung Cabral files. Iba pa ito do sa BBM parametric formula.
Actually, Lord, meron nga silang 4 na basis meron din sila dito sinasabi na Article 2 is yung abuse ng discretionary power over unprogrammed appropriation and then yung direct and personal involvement in kickback scheme. No? Pero Lord, ngayon pinipilit natin ulit yung papel na ipinasa nga nito. Meron sila dito mga breakdown ng program appropriation at hindi lamang mga testamento mula doon sa mga balita na inilabas at yung iba pang mga investigasyon no, talagang nakadetalye dito. At meron itong 37 pages, no? At yun, yung mga grounds for impeachment, it's written over here naman, no? Pero malayo talaga yan doon sa unang inilabas na tinawag nga ng iba na flimsy impeachment complaint laban sa Pangulo.
Okay. Ito ba pag na-junk yung unang complaint, ibig sabihin ba ay may 1-year immunity na matatanggap ang presidente?
Nakadepende yan, Lord, kung makakasama yung naunang impeachment complaint sa order of business ng Kamara sa pagbabalik ng sesyon nito sa Lunes, January 26, and kung matatransmit ba ito sa Committee on Justice. At meron kasi silang 10 session days para nga talakayin itong impeachment complaint laban sa Pangulo.
At alam mong seryoso, may kulangatan nakita naka-long sleeves si Renato Reyes. Ng bayan. Anyway, maraming salamat sa iyong ulat ang ating mobile journalist, Arles de los Santos.
Now, it's not only President Marcos that has some legal challenges to hurdle. His former running mate and estranged Vice President Sara Duterte also has a string of complaints over her alleged misuse of public funds. She is likewise expected to face another impeachment complaint a few weeks from now. Here's the report.
On Wednesday morning, former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV arrived at the office of the Ombudsman in Quezon City. He was accompanied by members of the civil society group The Silent Majority. The group carried stacks of documents as they filed a new complaint for plunder and graft against Vice President Sara Duterte. The complaint covers alleged irregularities from her time as Davao City Mayor up to her term as Secretary of the Education Department. The group also cited what it called incidents of public meltdown, including a 2024 press conference where Duterte was allegedly heard threatening President Marcos, First Lady Liza, and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Pinapakita ng complaint na ito na una, ang kabuuang halaga ng mga nilimas o niwaldas ni Sara Duterte ay maihahanay sa mga pinakamalalaking flood control scandal.
The complaint also referenced an affidavit from Ramil Madriaga, described as a former aide and bagman of the Vice President. This is now the second complaint filed against Duterte over alleged irregular use of funds. Back in December, multiple complaints including plunder and graft were also filed against the Vice President and several officials from the OVP and DepEd. Those complaints were linked to the alleged misuse of a total of 612.5 million pesos in confidential funds from both offices. Trillanes said it is also important that bank accounts connected to the case be opened.
Hindi lang ito sabi-sabi. Hindi ito paninira. Kasi kung paninira, hanggang dyan lang yan sa Facebook. Ito, dinala namin sa Ombudsman.
He added that their move to file a case is meant to expose what they claim are anomalies involving the Vice President.
Dahil talagang binabaha nila ng fake news, at mga trolls nila yung social media na naging pangunahing source ng impormasyon ng mga kababayan natin. At hopefully, mamulat sila.
Vice President Sara Duterte has yet to issue a statement on the latest complaint, but she has previously denied any wrongdoing in the use of confidential funds. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
Here now is a quick rundown of more stories on One News. Former PNP Chief Nicolas Torre III denies reports that he has retired from the police service. Torre said he did not sign any retirement papers and will first clarify the matter with his superiors after assuming his new post as MMDA General Manager. The National Police Commission earlier showed Torres' supposed optional retirement with effectivity set on December 26, 2025. NAPOLCOM said this paves the way for the conferring of 4-star rank to current Police Chief Jose Nartates. The camp of fugitive gambling tycoon Charlie Atong Ang has surrendered 5 of his 6 firearms after the PNP revoked their licenses. Ang's lawyers said 1 firearm was declared lost through an affidavit. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla earlier said police will use all means to arrest Ang, who is now believed to be in Cambodia. Another Russian vlogger has been arrested by immigration authorities, this time due to videos on social media claiming he was deliberately spreading HIV in the Philippines. The BI identified the foreign national as Nikita Chekhov. He is being held at BI detention facility pending deportation proceedings. Earlier, Russian vlogger Vitaly Zhudorovetsky was deported after serving his sentence in the Philippines over harassment and disruptive prank activities. A Tacloban Regional Trial Court has found Filipino community journalist Frenchie May Cumpio guilty of terror financing. She was sentenced to up to 18 years in prison, nearly 6 years after her arrest. Rights groups and a United Nations rapporteur have condemned the ruling, saying the case was retaliation for Cumpio's work as a journalist. They have since called it a travesty of justice. And the Philippines ranked as the most congested country in Asia in the 2025 TomTom Traffic Index. The country logged a congestion level of 45%, followed by India and Singapore with 37%. Meantime, Davao City was the most congested in the country and 12th globally, with drivers losing an average of 168 hours a year to rush hour traffic.
Sa mga ganyan hanggang number 1 ng Pinas.
Grabe, no?
Pati yung pinakamatagal doon sa isang website. Anyway, time out muna. Pero huwag kayong maglilipat ng channel kasi marami pa kaming kwento tulad itong global headlines from the Associated Press at magbabalik pa rin ang Afternoon Delight.
This is AP News Minute. President Donald Trump announced he'll cancel a planned tariff on U.S. allies in Europe after achieving what he called a framework for a future Arctic deal. Earlier, Trump insisted on acquiring Greenland, but ruled out the use of military force. The Supreme Court seems inclined to keep Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook in her job, casting doubt on President Trump's bid to wrest control of the nation's central bank. The administration has accused Cook of committing mortgage fraud. She denies the allegations. Commuter rail service in Catalonia, Spain was suspended after a train crash killed 1 person and injured dozens more. It happened just 2 days after Spain's worst railway disaster in decades. Wall Street bounced back from its worst day since October after tensions fell between the U.S. and Europe over Greenland. The S&P 500 recovered much of Tuesday's losses and moved closer to its all-time high.
And this is still Afternoon Delight on One News. Ako po si Lord de Vera.
At ako naman po si Denise Tan. Magandang hapon pong muli.
Alright, on to the news. Pambabastos, rude, disrespectful. That's how Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Ping Lacson described the report presented by minority members Senators Amy Marcos and Rodante Marcoleta. More in this report.
Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Panfilo Lacson has called out the minority bloc's report on the committee's investigation into the flood control scandal, saying it shows disrespect for the committee and the entire Senate. Lacson asked how he could respect a document that, in his words, symbolizes disrespect not only to the committee, but to the whole Senate. He said the minority senators, as veteran lawmakers, should know there is a proper procedure in adopting a committee report in plenary. Lacson added they are not being stopped from proposing amendments, but there is a proper time for it, and they should not preempt the Blue Ribbon Committee. In a minority report, a matrix was also presented, showing politicians, public officials, and private individuals allegedly linked to the flood control scandal, all pointing to former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Senate President Tito Sotto earlier said the minority report is just a piece of paper with no weight. He said it did not go through the proper process and should not have been submitted directly to his office. In an interview on Storycon, Senator Lacson said Senate President Tito Sotto made the right call. He also remarked that the minority bloc appears to be struggling to move forward.
Na tama yung ginawa niya, ni-refer sa akin. Ngayon, anong gagawin ko doon? Anong disposition? Trust kan. May mga bitter Hindi matanggap na hindi na sila nasa majority. They cannot move on.
Senator Risa Hontiveros said she has not yet read the minority report, but she agrees with claim that former Speaker Martin Romualdez bears responsibility.
Leadership has greater responsibility talaga. And kaya rin sinimulan at ipinagpapatuloy ng Blue Ribbon. Nabanggit yung pangalan nila. So, I guess bukas din yung pagkakataon na dumalo sila sa susunod na pagdinig at ibigay yung kanilang panig.
Romualdez may be invited by the committee but he cannot be compelled to appear due to parliamentary courtesy. And while the minority bloc may be disappointed with how the hearings have been going, Hontiveros said she has a different view.
I'm satisfied at dahil alam kong magpapatuloy siya. Hindi pa siya na-adjourn, magtatawag pa ng susunod na hearing. Yung coordinates, nakaka-frustrate talaga yung issue iyan. Tuloy na sayang ang oras, ang resources, pati ang pasensya ng taong bayan.
Hontiveros also challenged contractor Curly Discaya to fully cooperate with the investigation and to stop playing the victim. Discaya earlier said it would be like they were being robbed if they were made to return their wealth.
May ilan na pong nagsabi na medyo makapal daw po yung mukha ni Curly Discaya.
Medyo?
Nang sinabi po niyang parang
sila
nanakawan.
I know, right? Kaya talagang ilan sa amin halos mahulog sa silya. Mm-hmm. I mean, hello, sasabihin niya na ninakawan sila. Parang, parang hinold up tayo. Tapos kailangan pa natin mag-sorry sa hold upper. I mean, tigilin na ng mga Discaya yung ganyang pag-iiwas sa mga tanong.
Hontiveros said they are still looking for a ledger that the Discaya Group had promised to submit. She called it a missing piece in the investigation, as it allegedly contains their transactions from 2016 to 2022.
We also give you a quick look at stories from our media partners. On the Philippine Star, the Justice Department says Senator Joel Villanueva is facing 3 malversation cases over the flood control scandal, all of which are non-bailable. The complaints, according to the DOJ, are either under preliminary investigation or undergoing further review by prosecutors. In one of the cases, Villanueva asked for more time to submit a counter-affidavit, with prosecutors agreeing to extend the deadline to January 26. And on Business World, more overseas Filipinos are opting for digital channels when sending money back home. The avoidance of cash-based transfers comes on the back of a 1% U.S. tax on certain remittances, which took effect on January 1st of this year. The levy applies to cash payments, money orders, and cashier's checks regardless of the sender's citizenship. This is a charge on top of the amount sent. However, transfers made through American banks, U.S.-issued debit and credit cards, electronic wallets, and even hand-carried physical cash are exempt from the additional tax. For more details of these stories, you can visit the social media pages of the Philippine Star and Business World. Do check out as well the social media platforms of One News PH for the very latest news. Now, in the world of sports, Team Philippines is currently in 5th place at the 13th ASEAN Para Games being held in Thailand. And for the details, we have mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho live on the ground. Denise, how's our medal haul so far?
Lord Denise, yes, Team Philippines continues to make waves here at the 13th ASEAN Para Games in Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. We have 26 medals, 11 golds, 7 silvers, and 8 bronzes. And strong performances came from athletics where John Jairo Palermo delivered gold in the men's long jump T20, soaring 6.89 meters. Another record-breaking run from Rodrigo Padiotan Jr., clocking 1 minute and 0.1.6 seconds to set a new ASEAN Para Games record in the men's 400 meters T52. Paralympian Sandy Susana also broke her own APG record with a 6.04 meter throw to win the women's shot put at 54. In fencing, Marilyn Garucho struck gold in the women's individual saber event. And just today, Philippines swimming added 3 more golds. Ariel Joseph Alegarbes in the men's 100-meter backstroke S14, Gary Behino in the men's 200-meter freestyle S6, and Ernie Gawilan in the men's 200-meter freestyle S7. And Team Philippines keeps the momentum going as competition continues here in Thailand. Lord Denise.
Okay, Denise, ano yung mga laban? Ano mga matches ang aabangan pa natin for the rest of the day?
Marami pa tayong matches, lalo na sa para-athletics dahil nga tapos na mostly of the swimming games na kung saan nakakuha agad tayo ng 3 golds. Maya-maya around 3 p.m. magsisimula na yung para-athletics dahil dito nga usually sunod-sunod at napakaraming events kaya talagang binabantayan. Ongoing din yung games natin sa para judo, dito rin, kung nasan ako ngayon sa para cycling, kasama natin yung ilang athletes ng para cycling. Kakakuha lang or kaka-award lang sa isa sa mga para athletes natin na si Patrick Gerard Lee. Nakakuha siya ng silver dito sa men's C3 to C5 road race final. At sunod-sunod, no? At sabay-sabay, simultaneous yung nangyayari dito sa Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. Kaya more updates later. Sana umangat ulit yung medal tally natin dito.
Denise, tama ba? 26 total na tayo as of today?
Yes,
Ano bang target for Team Philippines?
Well, ang pinaka-sinabi lang ng chef de mission ng Team Philippines as per Sir Gudias, maungusan natin yung last na ranking natin sa Cambodia. We ranked 5th overall in the last Cambodia ASEAN Para Games. No specific number of medals or golds or silvers and bronzes, but as long as, mas tumaas tayo, hopefully, magandang resulta na yon para sa Team Pilipinas, Denise.
Ignorant question, Denise, doon sa athletics, let's say, what is the para equivalent of mga 100-meter dash at yung mga events like, kunyari, may mga, ano ba ito, yung
pole vault.
Pole vaulting, may mga ganyan ba?
Yes. Well, for pole vaulting, wala tayo. Ang mga meron tayo, for example, yung javelin throw, shot put. We also have a lot of 100-meter dash, yung mga racing, typical. Pero ang nangyayari kasi dito, for example, swimming and athletics, and all the events and sports here is dumadami dahil sa mga classifications sa mga para-athletes natin. Magkakaroon ng, halimbawa, yung mas severe na kind of disability, mahihiwalay siya ng event. Yung mga less severe, mahihiwalay siya ng event. Kaya dumadami. Nang dumadami yung mga sports, yung mga events dito. Minsan, per event, kahit 2 athlete lang yung kasali, pwede siya. Dahil yun lang yung classification or number of athletes na meron tayo per classification. So, ganun din, meron din kung ano yung for example, nangyari sa SEA Games, pero mas naging specific lang per classification.
Like kahapon may binanggit kayo cerebral palsy football.
Yes.
So, may mga sports na ang subcategory nila ay yung condition?
Well, for team sports, let's say yung nabanggit ko nga kahapon na cerebral palsy football, meron tayong syempre individuals or amount of players per team. Tapos may mga specific amount of players lang per number of severity ng disability. So for example, nabanggit ni Coach na medyo hirap tayo ngayon sa cerebral palsy football kasi mas marami ng mga C1 type of athletes, which is yung mga severe talaga na types of disability na usually dapat 1 or 2 athletes lang per team. So yung mga ganong specifics when it comes to team sports naman. If I'm explaining it well.
Alright. At mukhang malamig-lamig ngayon dyan at mukhang mahangin ngayon dyan. Denise Valdesancho. May tanong ka ba kay Denise?
Yeah, okay na, Denise. Sige, I know you have a lot of things to do and matches to cover. Again, we thank you for the updates. That was our mobile journalist, Denise Valdesancho.
And this is still Afternoon Delight on One News. We just need to pause for another break, but we will be right back.
January 22nd, 1973. In one of its most controversial rulings, the U.S. Supreme Court legalizes abortion in the landmark case of Roe v. Wade. Also that same year,
For in your time, we have the opportunity to move not only toward the rich society and the powerful society, but upward to the great society.
former President Lyndon Johnson dies in Texas at age 64. Johnson's legacy includes civil rights laws, domestic programs such as Medicare, and an expansion of the Vietnam War that divided the nation. 1998, Theodore Kaczynski pleads guilty to being the Unabomber. In return, he gets life in prison without parole. Kaczynski's brother, David.
We are finally at a place where we can begin a process of healing.
1901, Britain's Queen Victoria, whose more than 50-year rule saw the British Empire reach its peak, dies at age 82. 1953, Arthur Miller's drama The Crucible opens on Broadway. Set during the Salem witch trials, the play takes aim at McCarthyism and the Red Scare of the 1950s. And 1968.
And now, folks, it's Sock It To Me time.
And You Bet Your Sweet Bippy, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, the TV comedy classic from the counterculture era, premieres on NBC. Today in history, January 22nd. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
We're still at Lord de Vera po.
Kasama si Denise Tan. And again, thank you for staying with us. Our delight of the day, meron tayong ramen, which is pasok pa rin dun sa ating theme of the week, which is soup. Okay, so itong ramen na to, ano bang gusto natin dito? This is
Sige lang.
parang garlic
Sige
flavor.
lang, Denise Tan, kasi
Ayan.
nawala na naman ng baterya yung mic.
Okay lang, pero titikman natin to, ano. Of course, we enjoy ramen, lalo na kapag kapag medyo cool yung weather, medyo mainit sa labas, pero you can never say no to a good bowl of ramen, lalo na ito, malasang malasa. Hi!
Tikman mo nga.
Sige nga, na-on the spot tuloy ako, i-close up pa ni Direk.
Oo.
Anong gusto mo sa ramen? Ako gusto ko yan. Yung, ito, pakita natin, Direk.
Ito, yung may tamago na maganda pagkaluto.
Oo, yan ang gustong gusto ko sa ano.
Natuto ako magluto dati yan. It's all about timing. Pero alam mo ba, partner, kung gaano ka-fatty ang ramen?
Oo, grabe.
Rendered fat, pork bone emulsion, ibig sabihin pinakuluan niya, part ng broth niyan ay pinakuluan ng matagal na buto ng baboy.
Ang sarap. Actually,
Pansin
yan
mo,
ang
walang ramen na
binabayaran
beef at walang bihira yung ramen na chicken.
Na-try ko na yung chicken.
Ako rin, hindi ko
Mas masaya yung pork talaga.
Correct.
Oo.
Okay. Although nakatikim ako ng yung Sapporo style ramen na yung tinikman ni Anthony Bourdain, yun medyo milky, creamy siya, tapos may corn.
Masaya.
Masaya
Tawa
din.
ka.
Masaya din. Kasi pag galing ka sa malamig na lugar, pag tumira ka ng ganun, parang
May hagod,
parang binabanlian yung kaluluwa mo. Ganun. Alright.
Okay, habang tinitikman namin ang aming ramen, daanan rin natin ang ating mga social media stories. Okay, on the Philippine Star via Live, Asia's first portal is now up over the Bonifacio Global City or BGC. Anong verdict nan? Masaya?
Ito lagi in order ko sa baba.
Sa baba.
Black garlic tonkotsu ramen.
Okay, sige.
Itong portal na to, I think na-feature natin to dati. Literal na portal yan. 24/7 parang naka-live stream yung 5 bansa. Panglima yung Pilipinas. So parang sa may Latvia, ano pa ba yung ibang mga bansa? So pwede kang sumilip at kumaway sa mga tao from the other on the other side of the world. Parang ganyan, no? Kaso, ang issue ko lang dito, noble as it intends, yung idea na may observation pa rin na hindi organic na syudad ang BGC.
Oo nga. Alam mo, may mga vloggers ako napapanood na sinasabi nila na as much as they like going around the area, parang it's not necessarily the real, quote-unquote, real Philippines daw. Oo.
Kaya yung mga vloggers sa mga Russians, yun ang pupunta.
Ayun.
Yun ang, yung idea nila ng authenticity, pero may sense of comfort at syempre, yung, alam mo, di ba, malinis. Hindi siya typical, kumbaga, Metro Manila Street ay ito. No? Pero ito yung malaking mall eh. No?
Okay.
May
Sige.
mayor by BGC.
Let's
Wala naman, diba?
check that out kung mapadaan kayo dyan, and say hi to the people you see on the screens.
Yeah. Pero kumaway lang kayo, ha? Baka may iba dyan kung anong
Nako,
gestures ang gawin.
oo.
Lalo na pag lasing, nako.
And make sure you're also representing the country.
Yes.
So, ingat-ingat po sa mga ipapakita sa mga tao sa kabilang side ng mundo.
Okay, magpakita ng mga sign show, Bob.
Okay. Eto, pasilipin na lang natin to on USA Today. The headline reads, "You can send your name to the moon on NASA Artemis mission. Here is how." Paano nga ba?
Wala, may message mo lang dun.
Oo, yung pangalan mo, no?
Oo. Pero isipin mo, partner, 1960s, yung unang-unang moon mission. Ngayon, ano ba? 2026.
2026.
Na. Pero biruin mo, ang computer na ginamit nung spacecraft na pumunta sa buwan, higit na mas mataas pa, mas powerful pa yung mga computers na ginagamit natin sa mga microwave oven natin ngayon, pati sa mga simpleng, ano pa bang mga device yun? Yung cellphone natin, na 1,000 times more powerful pa. Isipin mo, 64 kilobytes lang ginamit ng computer na yun. Nakapunta sila ng buwan. Ngayon, yung ating pagkabilis-bilis sa mga computers, saan natin ginagamit? Para manood ng...
Balita.
Si Taylor Swift will be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Yan.
Madaming mga Swifties ang nag-rejoice, of course, sa balitang yan.
14-time Grammy winner na pala.
Yes. So she will be honored alongside Alanis Morissette, Kenny Loggins, and Kiss members Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons at a ceremony in New York City on June 11. 36-year-old Taylor Swift will become the second youngest songwriter ever inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, joining the ranks of Stevie Wonder, who was 33 when he was inducted in 1983.
Bumalik na pala sa Spotify si Taylor Swift. Kasi ganun siya ka-powerful eh. Pwede siyang wag Spotify. I think may mga certain demands yata. Pero di ba si Taylor Swift, pinag-aaralan pa to sa mga colleges and universities.
Grabe kasing effect
may
niya,
Taylor
diba?
Swift studies. Pero meron lang akong issue doon sa dalawang si Paul Stanley at si Gene Simmons.
Bakit?
Medyo coops yung dalawang yan eh. Oo, nasa mga yung bandang Kiss, kinawawa nila yung mga ibang miyembro na si Ace Frehley tsaka si anyway.
Mahaba-habang kwento ata yan.
Pero tayo.
Still in the world of entertainment, 4 Filipino theater stars share one iconic stage as Les Miserables returns to Manila. We also get some life updates from one of the musical stars, Lea Salonga, in this report by News 5's MJ Marfori.
Not one, not two, but 4 Filipino theater greats take center stage in the return of one of the world's top musicals, Les Miserables. Here is Red Concepcion taking on the role of Thénardier, Emily Bautista as Eponine, Rachel Ann Go makes her return as Fantine, and the one and only Tony and Olivier award-winning actress and theater legend Lea Salonga as Madame Thénardier. All of them have worked together before in several Broadway shows and other projects, like Emily, who previously worked with Lea on the Pretty Little Liars reboot. As for Rachel Ann, she says Lea is one of her biggest influences and was even one of the people who encouraged her to audition for Miss Saigon years ago. Before, they say they often felt like solo flights as Filipinos in international productions. Now, it feels different. They say it feels more like home no matter what country they are in. as more Filipino theater stars continue to shine on the global stage.
So parang feeling ko outcast ako. Ay ngayon, ang dami na namin, di ba? So nakaka-proud. Ayun, ang daming chikahan.
For Leia, this run of Les Miserables is extra special as she gets to perform for Filipino fans.
I just think it's crazy to be doing this, but it's so fun and wonderful to do this here.
While Leia is busy with the show, her child Nick Chan is also busy with his own musical. Leia shared that she is giving her full support to Nick, who is currently undergoing transition. Nick reportedly started testosterone therapy last March.
I just want a happy kid, you know, somebody who feels, yeah, because the dysphoria was a lot, and it was a lot to deal with, and it was really affecting his mental health.
Leia also shared that she and her husband are now separated, but he continues to give full support to their child. And even with her busy schedule, Leia remains present for Nick.
Thankfully, the dad and dad's partner are the ones kind
Ay,
of,
ang galing
may
din,
sipon
ang
ka?
galing.
Here, let's send you food. Let's make sure that you're well. So, yes.
Galing.
So yes, it's not a secret. We've been separated for a while, and now he's happy. And I'm happy that he's happy.
Catch Leia Salonga in Les Miserables at the theater at Solaire until March 1. MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Yung iba, medyo OA pag mag-pronounce yung miserak. Talagang parang, miserak. Parang dahak na ng konti. O binabati natin ang lahat ng nanonood sa Afternoon Delight via live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Unahin ko na, ang dakilang kolumnista ng Philippine Star na si Sir Alfred Yuson.
Hello po, good afternoon. Good afternoon din kila Alex Fuentes. Tito Redel, Tita Jane Katapia.
Sabi ni Arneline Espiel, hashtag Afternoon Delight. Si Elmo Cardenas ay present at sabi niya, yummy na inihaw daw na bangus.
Next week siguro pwede yon, ano? Baka yun ang minemerienda niya.
Oo, kasi ang tema natin this week ay puro sabaw.
Oo, pero sige, subukan natin magka-theme na inihaw.
Pero wag natin i-encourage yung mga ganyan kasi pwede naman mag-ribeye steak.
Pwede,
Oo.
diba? Bakit hindi tayo mag-steak week?
Yan, tama.
Yan,
Baka
iba-ibang
mamaya
cuts.
Baka anong steak ang ilagay. Baka burger steak lang i-serve sa atin. Sabi ni Digital Wampum, feeling ko punk to si Digital Wampum kasi
Bakit
sabi niya,
nasabi?
Holiday in Cambodia. Album yun ng isang legendary punk band na Dead Kennedys.
Si Rodel Alcantara, watching from Novaliches.
El Pueblo, ba?
Yes.
Alala ko dati yung El Pueblo dito sa Ortigas. Sosyalin dati yun.
Wow. Danilo Natividad, good afternoon daw.
Kay Pao 9876, Bato, noon tumakbo sa eleksyon, ngayon tumatakbot hanggat may lupa. Para namang title ng pelikula yun. Jinx 89, boom! Good afternoon, the lighters. Sabi ni Alvin Pusta, kauwi lang ma'am and sir, katapos ng kumain, mami, at kain po. Napadami ang gawa namin, kaya late na nakauwi. Thank you for sharing your day, Alvin Pusta.
Ito, nag-text ang mother ko. Tito Tommy, family from Canada na bumibisita ngayon sa Batangas. Pati na rin sila Tita Moren, Tita Nida at Tito Monching. Hello po.
Sabi ni Dave Andres, finally hindi na off-sync. Nag-off-sync ba tayo?
Depende.
You killed my master.
Ganun lang ako.
Sabi rin ni Raymond Bartulay, ouch, sorry ma'am, Denise, yung isang Denise pala yung sweetheart na bulol ako. Ay, hindi ka pala.
Raymond, anong problema mo?
Taksil. Natuwa pa naman siya.
Oo nga, kinilig ako ng konti.
Finally, may magmamahal na sa kanya.
Ganun ba?
Tapos,
husband survivor from Iloilo City daw, nanonood siya.
hello, daddy ni Elijah, good afternoon. Sabi ni Alvin po, sa egg na lang ulam ko mamaya, sir, lagyan ko ng kamatis, maganda rin yun. Balat, sir, diba? Basta nakakabusog, okay yan. Sabi naman ni JP Villanueva, magandang araw. Ako ay inyong tagahanga, kahit na ang karamihan ng paborito ay si Nikki de Guzman. Ako, Nikki de Guzman ako. Ang afternoon light sa akin ay isang balitang pangtalakayan. Panoorin mo lahat ng show sa TV5 at sa One News. Okay, let there be the light. Ba, iba ba ito Mabuhay po kayo. Jigs 89, Tito Mike Policarpio, Marion Laja, belated happy birthday pa rin.
Si Prof. Mark Pasco, wag natin kalimutan. Nanonood yan.
Kung nanonood ngayon si Ian Mayor, Akin na yung drum set mo. So, Rosana Narumi. Oh, yes, here, ramen is live, especially now. Winter from Chiba, Japan. Silent follower daw si Rosana. Hello, Rosana.
Hello, Rosana.
Paramdam ka mo ng palagi. Opo. Ang daming nakatutok sa atin.
Oo nga
Anyway.
But that will have to do it for us this Thursday, January 22. Thank you for watching Afternoon Delight. Ako po, si Denise Tan.
Join us again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Ako po si Lourdes de Vera, kapatid. We are one news, all sides, all the time.
Have a delightful afternoon.